Crush. Hi everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the 81st, that's right, 8-1, the 81st Crush Wednesday, and we are live at HQ, and you have with us, we've got our first one on, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Welcome. Now, you're on here with Angela and myself, Raymond, so this is, Angela, your first live. Your first live, which is exciting. Hello, Claire. Now, look, I have a rule when I do lives, and I love to know, where are you coming from? What are you doing? I've had some in the past where they've been at the airport or they've been at the beach, or, so where are you coming from? Which is awesome. Oh, we've got the boss on, which is great. Richard, you're on. I love it. We've got Frixie, and you're new to our Crush page, so welcome. Hello, where are you coming from, guys? You've joined us on our 81st live, and this is a really, I love this topic, and it's how to overcome objections.
Good one.
Ange loves this topic, and let me tell you why. Now, for those who haven't met Ange, she's joined us at Com like myself about 3 months ago, and she looks after all the sales of Com and systems and processes. So, Ange, over the years, over the past 10 years, we've both worked, we're husband and wife, FYI, just so you know, but we've worked in small businesses. So we're talking about how to overcome objections, and we've worked in small businesses, and one of the biggest things you did every day, Ange, was dealing with the no's.
Absolutely.
Now, my first question, guys, who loves a no? When they're on the phone, who loves a no? Now, I want you to put a hand up or comment. Claire, you're coming from Sydney, cuddling on the lounge with my fur babies. There we are, beautiful. So, guys, who loves a no? No, we've got a bit of scary faces there. So, when you're at that point where you're securing business, you're growing your business. Frixie, you're watching from the Philippines. I love it. There we are. We're worldwide. So we're talking about overcoming objections and getting the no. So something you did, Angela, over the years was you created a formula. Can I say that?
Yeah.
So there was a 4-step. So we are going to go through 4 steps. So you are not to get off this live. If you're watching this on replay, you're going to hear 4 steps on how to overcome objections. So you're going to get to a point where you're talking to someone and they're going to say, oh, look, no, maybe not. And you're going to know exactly what to do. That is the value you're going to get from today. This is our 81st live on how to overcome objections.
Give us a little thumbs up or a little like or a love if you see value from this. If you think, yes, this is something that I want to know. Put a little like, a little thumbs up there for us. We want to know that you're getting value from this.
Who has a problem with this? Awesome. Who hates objections and who knows how to deal with them? So let's kick off, Ange.
Beautiful.
So I think the first thing we can say is problems. Objections and problems and no's. Now, are they good or are they bad?
They're good. They're great, because at the end of the day, do you know what? If you don't have problems in your business, or if you don't have objections in your business, then sadly you don't have a business at all. Because what business is a whole string of problems that we all work together to solve to find the best solution or the best outcome for everybody that's in the party there. So we want to make sure that there are problems there. The next step we want to do is make sure that we know how to solve them. Okay.
So we love problems, guys. Yeah. So just comment here, put your hand up and comment if you've had a situation in your business where you're growing, you're on the phone, and you've had a problem, and you've had a no, and you haven't known how to deal with it. Because we're about to give you the solution, 4 steps.
Here we go. But can I just say, before we go into that, Raymond, before you can solve a problem, you need to know what the problem is. Because a lot of the time, you know that you're getting, it might be, closed off body language, or it the tone of the voice changes, and so you can sense that there's a problem, but you don't know what it is. So we need to get really clear about what the problem is first. So it's about defining the problem to begin with before you can offer a solution.
And can I say, Ange, and everyone out there, that is probably, who would think that that's probably, thinking back, who would think that not actually knowing what the problem is probably one of the biggest issues we have in business? just give me a thumbs up, a like, or a comment, that we generally don't ask what the problem is. So if someone comes to us and say, you know, you're too expensive, we may not delve into that. So it's so important that as business owners, and if we're on that front end, that we actually really understand why are they saying no? Who would, yeah, we've got some loves and some likes there. So it's so true. We don't actually ask the questions we need to ask. And that is probably the biggest hurdle, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
4 steps. We're about to give you the 4 steps on how you're going to overcome objections. So keep your ears and eyes on us now.
All right. So,
ready?
And I want to just say as well that no matter what the objection is, before you come up with a solution, you always, always, always need to empathize first, okay? Never, ever, ever use the word but. Oh, but this, oh, but that, oh, but that, because you're on the back foot already, okay? So we always need to come from a place of love, a place of empathy, and making sure that we're really understanding and we're really connecting with the person that you're speaking with, because now you'll be on the same playing field and you're really putting your feet into their shoes, okay?
Some loves there,
throw me a little love
yeah.
if that connects with you, because I think to solve any problem at all, you really need to be on the same page and put your feet in their shoes to understand where they're coming from. All right?
So what that might look like, guys who are watching here, and if you're on replay, how do you empathize? Like if someone, you're on the phone and they've said, look, you're a PT or something, and they've said, look, it's too expensive. Before you do anything, all we're doing is going, I know it is. Time's tough, isn't it? Just that alone, and I'm going to repeat that because this is probably the first step. This is the crucial part. When you get a no and they tell you, no, it's too expensive. No, I don't have time. It doesn't matter what it is. The first thing that you must do is agree with them. Empathize with them. Empathy. It is, yeah, I know. Time is tough. It's hard to find the time these days. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's money's tight. We really need to be cautious about where we spend our money.
And
it's
what
very
that
important.
Does immediately, what that does is it takes away any boundaries that they have, and they can see that you're on the same page as them. You're showing understanding, you're showing empathy, you're being real with them and really just raw and honest and going, yeah, I know what you mean. And let your body lean into them and let your words soften as you say it as well. So it's not just, I know what you mean, because that's very ingenuine, okay? So let your body soften, lean into them, let your words soften as well.
Genuine, quite genuine.
Really genuine, and come from a place of understanding that, yeah, I get it. It's really tough at the moment, isn't it? Agree with them, because then what you're going to be able to do is bring them around and you're already on the same page, the same team as them, so to speak, after that.
Who likes that nugget? That to me is a really, when I learnt that, and that's your first step. That's the only thing you need to do first. Give me a thumbs up or a like, or comment here. Comment yes. Yes, empathize. I want to see that comment, empathize, hashtag empathize. That is probably the biggest thing. So once you understand that, we're now going through these 4 things that you're going to can do. So, all right. What's the first step?
Notepad and pen at the ready, guys. First step, here we go. Step 1 in the process, we need to check their understanding, or check your understanding, because again, unless you understand what the problem is, how on earth are you going to be able to solve it? So if I am a PT and I've got a client who's come to me and they're wanting to do one-on-one PT with me, I also run some group sessions as well, but if they're wanting to do one-on-one with me, they might say to me, oh, look, I really want to, but it's just too expensive. Okay, maybe that's their objection. Okay, I'm sure you've got all of your own objections, and we'll explore that in a couple of moments, but maybe they just say, look, it's too expensive for one-on-one. And you might say to them, firstly, you're going to go, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. And first thing you want to do is check understanding.
C, that's your C. Okay. We're going to call that C.
Check understanding. Check. So do you feel that $80 a session is too much for you to afford at this point in your time for your health goals? Because firstly, we just want to identify that, yes, I'm understanding what the client is saying. All right. Does that make sense? Put a little yes in there if that makes sense to you, because we need to check that our understanding is what their objection is. Otherwise, we can't move forward. It's like a funnel. We're at the top of the funnel right now and we're moving down. Okay. We want to make sure that that part is right before we progress to the next part. Okay. So a little yes in there if check understanding makes sense to you.
And again, this is probably a big part with understanding, is that who here is guilty, and yes, I am, of kind of trying to answer someone before you've even probably listened to exactly what they're saying, their whole sentence.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done that. I'm sure many of you out there have done that, is that we try and respond before we actually understand. So check understanding is quite crucial. And again, it shows them that we've empathized, we've checked understanding, we're really trying to help them out here.
Yes, absolutely. We also, I love Joey's just put in there, what's their why? This is very important.
Look at the comments, guys. Empathize. Yes. I love it.
Beautiful. And we do need to know their why. We need to know why it is that they've decided in the first place to come to you. What made them pick up the phone? What made them walk into the gym? What made them connect with you as a trainer for their health and fitness goals in the first place? What is it? Is it weight loss? I'm going to go with that because it's low hanging fruit and it's easy to roll with. So let's say it's weight loss. Do you feel that $80 for, once a week with a one-on-one PT session is too expensive for your health goals at the moment, for you to lose weight?
Oh yeah, yes, that's right, Ange.
Or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've confirmed with her that yes, that is correct. That's what I'm saying.
So the next thing we need to do is acknowledge their feelings.
2. This is step 2, guys.
All right, step 2.
Check understanding, acknowledge feelings.
Acknowledge their feelings. Because imagine how it would feel if the shoe was on the other foot. Imagine how it would feel if that was you saying it to another business owner and they just brush you aside and they don't acknowledge your feelings whatsoever. So we really want to help them to feel okay with this. $80 for them might be a lot of money. It could be less, it could be more. Who knows, whatever your circumstances are. But, whatever it is for that particular person, they're feeling like that's a little bit out of their budget. Okay, so we want to make them feel okay with that and go, look, I know what you mean. I know how you feel. $80 can be a lot of money. I mean, that could be a tank of petrol as an example, or it could be, half a week's worth of groceries for your children, whatever that looks like. $80 is a lot of money. And I understand for you to part with that $80 each week, that you are going to need to be receiving something in return. Okay?
Yes, and so if that was that situation and I was that person, I really know now that Angela is she's listened to me, she's understood exactly my issue, and she's acknowledged, again, where I'm coming from. So they're the first 2 steps. Who likes those 2 initially? Just put #2. If you've kind of got check understanding and acknowledge their feelings. And guys, you'll probably know we haven't even discussed overcoming objections yet. We haven't even mentioned it yet. And that's why this 4-step process is going to be really crucial to you turning that objection round. And that's what we're here for. Who wants to turn their objection round? Yes, put your hand up. We want to turn our objections around. We've got some thumbs up there. I just want to welcome Naomi, you're on. Pam, welcome. Prana Athletica, I love to see you here. Ian, you're on. Beautiful. Joey, Sharon, love it. Love all your comments. All
right. Fantastic.
What's next, Ange?
All right, so next thing we need to do after we've checked understanding, make sure that we know what the problem is, acknowledge their feelings to let them see that we're human, we're not a robot, okay? Next thing we need to do is respond with some options, okay?
Options.
So options here. So what other options, you as a trainer, what other options could you give to this potential client? Remember, they haven't signed with you yet. They're a potential client. What other options could you give them if they say to you, look, $80 is a little bit out of my price range? Could it look like, perhaps just exploring this, could it look like, hey, well, Raymond, I understand that $80 is a bit much for you at the moment. I actually have a group session that I run, a small group session, maximum 8 to 12 people.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to come and try that. That only cost blah amount, maybe $40
Okay.
a week.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
love for you to maybe come in on that
Yeah.
and see how you feel, and we can work up to the one-on-one PT.
Okay.
How does that sound as a halfway option?
It's a good option. It's a good option. Remember, she has understood my problem. She has acknowledged my feelings. She's empathized with me. And now she's given me an option. So I am already connected with this person. They're connected with you because we are humans. And when we connect with people through understanding, acknowledgement, emotionally, I'm invested a bit into you now because you've really shown me that you're all about me, you know?
Do you know, if that option didn't sit well with them, perhaps another option that we could look at, and what I'd encourage everybody here to do is write down the options.
Let's have some comments, guys. Let's say you've got the problem, and you're the experts out here. You've got the problem of it's too expensive. Yeah. Just comment a quick. What would be your option if you had a client that said, "Look," and I'm sure you've had them in the past. It's too expensive. I can't do 3 days. Whatever the situation, it's too expensive. Just comment here what your options would be, what you would use.
And you know, just another option that I particularly love this option, and I've used it for many, many years. And it could just look something like, "Hey, Raymond, that's okay. I understand where you're coming from. It's a little bit of money. What I like to offer all of my clients, my first-time clients, is a free introductory session for 30 minutes with me at a time that works for both of us. And why don't we just get together? We'll have a free session to begin with. If you see value from this session, what I'd love to do then is to welcome you into my members group. If you don't, maybe we could go down the road of that group fitness that I was talking about. So, you know, it could look like it could look like just, hey, let's pencil this in. Let's just have a little free trial to begin with. See if you get value from it.
Okay.
And let's test it out.
I'm actually being like, if this was a real situation, put your hand up if you think you would kind of, how would you feel right now? I'd love to know, how would you feel? Give me a love if you would feel that you're connected with this trainer. You know, you're connected. She's acknowledged. She checked understanding. She's acknowledged, and she's given me how many? 2 or 3 options. How would you feel? I'd love to get your comments here. Give me a love, or we've got some comments here. Prana Athletica. If it's a gym membership that has one membership, how do you give a cheaper option? Okay, there's a good. Let's come back to that one. Thank you, Ian. Try to find out what they're comparing it to, how much they'd spend on a night out.
Great.
That's perfect, Ian. So what we're doing is what you guys obviously do is you're creating the value. How important is it? And that's really crucial because it's priorities.
Yeah.
You know?
And sometimes it can look like, on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not at all important and 10 being super duper important, need to action this now. How important is your weight loss journey? How important is your toning journey? How important is your strength journey? Whatever it is that they're coming to you for, remember their why. How important is it to you on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay, once you get their number, here's a little nugget that I wasn't planning on, but when you have that number, let's say they say 7 or 8, you could then ask them and say, look, well, what would it take to move you from an 8 to a 9? What's the missing gap there? What would it take to move you from a 9 to a 10? Okay, what would that look like? If you go back to the doctor next week and he says that your health has declined, is that what's going to move you? Is that the motivation that's needed? Why do we need to get to that point in the first place? Do you know? So really finding out.
We're drawing out. We're really trying to find out what their issue is. Because you've got to remember, when people say no, when they say kind of it's too expensive, it's not their real issue. It never is. And you guys probably know that. We are humans, and you've got to remember this, our natural reaction is to say no because it protects us. So by us saying no, or by us giving a very loose, I can't afford it, it's too expensive, I don't have time, they're very general kind of objections. So keep this in mind. This is not personal. This is just the way as humans we respond. So that's really crucial. So we have checked understanding, we have acknowledged their feelings, and we have responded with options. And the last thing. What's the last thing? 4.
Step 4. I've pretty much already given you word choices for this one already, but I'm going to label it for you. So the step 4 is to extend an invitation. So they kind of go hand in hand. So responding with options and then extending an invitation, they kind of go hand in hand, because you're going to say, well, here are some options. And then the extended invitation is really just about, well, why don't you come along on this day at this time? Or why don't we pencil that in for next week?
Pencil. Always have your pencil, never use a pen.
Big
pencil
fan
it
of
in. Let's just pencil it in, and then we can move it if need be. Let's just book you into our whatever you do, your 3-week trial or your 7-day trial. Let's pencil it in.
Yeah, absolutely. It allows a partial commitment, and you able to work on that partial commitment to bring it to a 100% commitment. But it's less scary for them to commit. It's their half commitment. So extending an invitation. So what do you say? Can I book you in for next week? Can I pencil you in for this? Why don't I save you a spot at my next class? It's 6 a.m. tomorrow. Whatever that looks like. I'd love to get you in. There's another lady there who's, similar build with similar goals to yourself. I'd love to introduce you to her. She's going to be there tomorrow at 6 a.m. Can I save you a spot with her tomorrow? So making them really
who likes that? We've got a thumbs up there. So tell me what you've connected with so far on these four points. Check on and just the comments here. What has been your aha moment? Which one did you like the most? Check understanding, acknowledge their feelings, respond with options, extend an invitation. And while you do that, you've got to always understand the reason that going through this process is so important is that we've got to understand how they're feeling. So once, Angela, if I was the client,
yeah,
and you have checked my understanding,
yeah,
you've acknowledged my feelings, you've given me options, and you've extended an invitation. Well, it's pretty difficult for me to say no. Who would agree with that? It's very difficult for me, because you have connected so well with me, and you understood me, you really worked through my problems, you checked understanding, you gave me some options that would help me overcome this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty connected.
Yeah.
So this is really going to help your increase in that overcoming rejection and really struggling with that point where we kind of get stuck on.
So I'm not sure if who's been writing these
thumbs
down
up there,
or not,
yeah.
but not sure if you noticed, but this, if you were to actually write these down your piece of paper, this actually creates an acronym, and I'm a big fan of acronyms. I think it helps us to understand.
Who
things
likes
a
an
little bit
acronym?
more.
Put your hand up. Yeah.
Give us a little like or a love there if you like the old acronym. So check understanding, acknowledge feelings.
Oh, there we are.
Good. I love the loves. Respond with options and extend an invitation. This actually creates an acronym, which is CARE, care. And remember, in the beginning, that's what we said. We want to come from a place of love, a place of empathy, a place of caring. Okay, so whenever you're finding yourself in this position, just go, right, I've got the acronym CARE. Check understanding, acknowledge feelings, respond with options, and extend an invitation. It'll take a little while to get to know it. Maybe write it down somewhere, put it on your bathroom mirror on a Post-it. Remember,
big fan of writing on the bathroom mirror, guys. Get your liquid chalk.
But I think the main theme throughout this is to really be able to use their own benefits to overcome their objections. Okay, so they will have benefits as to why they want to do this, and this is all assuming that you've already explored this with them prior. You know what their why is, you know why it's important. If it's weight loss, it might be because they're getting married and they want to be in shape and they want to look great on their biggest day of their life. Fantastic, you've got all of those benefits there. And then when they have the one objection, and let's say it's financial, remember how you're going to feel on your wedding day and always bringing it back to that. So overcome their objection with their own benefits, because that's when it connects the most to them. Yeah.
I'm going to give a little bit of a story here, guys. So some of you may, I only just joined the gym about 4 weeks ago, and it's a bit personal, but anyway, so I've got 3 kids, and who's ever heard of the dad bod? I'm sure a lot of this big terminology out there. And I I don't need to really lose a lot of weight, but I just wanted to kind of tone up. And that was really my big thing. But my objection was, yes, money and time. But what eventually outweighed, after I had my discussion, I joined a gym with the manager there, was the fact, but what do you really want? So it always has to go back to their values and what they really want to get out of this. So therefore, my objection really kind of went down the queue a bit, because, you know, I really wanted to get rid of that dad bod. So, so there you go. But guys, this is something which you're not going to pick up kind of like that. It comes through just lots of practice.
Practice, yeah. And what I would really encourage each of you, those who are in your own business and constantly dealing with these objections on a daily, weekly basis, what I would encourage you to do is to jot down the most frequent objections that you hear. And generally in any business, you're looking at between 5 and 8. And after that, they're just recycled. They're the same excuses over and over. Okay, so generally between 5 and 8 of your top objections that you hear all the time. And then the next, once you've written all of those down, challenge yourself to put 5 or 8 down. Some of them might overlap, okay? But pop them all down on a single sheet of paper. And then what I want you to do is to script out some responses. Put some bullet points down to begin with of what it is that you might say in response to that, using that CARE acronym, okay? And then script 2 sentences, 3 sentences, okay, to check their understanding, acknowledge their feelings, respond, and extend, okay? Script it out, and then the step after that is really to sit there and to practice it, and to, some people say role play. I'm not a big fan of the word role play. I think it sounds scary. It takes you back to high school when you had to sit out the front of a classroom, and it's all a little bit daunting. I prefer the word rehearse. So sit and rehearse it.
Rehearse at home, rehearse with your husband, your wife, your partner, your spouse, your kids. They're your biggest critics.
Yep.
So they'll really make it tough for you. But I mean, you're probably thinking, gosh, there's care, I've got to check, there's a process. And yeah, there is. But can you imagine next time you're faced with an objection, which you will get, no is the biggest word that we hear, you are going to feel so confident, because as Angela said, there's probably only 5 key objections in the health and fitness industry that were the same objections 30, 40 years ago. No difference. Here we are. Claire, what would you say for a time rejection? So that's a good point. That's a big one. Time. That was my objection, Claire. I don't have time. And a lot of that comes down to, let's say they really need, perhaps, example, they need 3 sessions a week. So why don't we just start with 1?
Yeah.
So let's just get that ball rolling. If it's a time thing, maybe, Claire, let's establish what time of day. So time in general, but I mean, I would say right now, guys, you're sitting at 11:30 on a Zoom. So you're having time now. So going back to your client and going, okay, well, when is a time where you have half an hour to an hour? And that's all we're talking about here.
Yeah.
We're talking about an hour over a period of 7 days. And that's a very good question to ask. When would you have time over the next 7 days?
Also, you know, asking them, you know, well, if it's a morning session, perhaps, you know, like, what time do you have to get up for work? Well, what about waking up 30 minutes earlier or 1 hour earlier? What would that look like? Oh, but then I go to bed late and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe we need to go to bed earlier. So maybe the whole dynamics need to change, but it's a conversation to enter into. And this is where you're partially being a coach to this person and helping them to find solutions around what it is that they're wanting to achieve. Remember, going back to their why, their whole reason for coming to you in the first place. It was big enough for them to call you or to walk in, then that's what you focus on. Okay, what made them pick up the phone in the first place?
All right, so guys, that is your, who likes that? That is your four-step way to deal with overcoming objections. No matter what the objection is, you go through that same process. We've got a couple of loves there. So you give me a love or a thumbs up if you've kind of connected with that. And if that's something that you could work with, no matter if you're the personality that just really, you might hate procedures, you might love them, you might just kind of roll with it. But no matter who you are, if you have some type of process that you go through in your head, you're never going to feel, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. They said no. Never take it personally. Yeah. Always remember, they're not saying no to you. They're just saying no right now to the situation, and that is it. So they're your 4 steps. It's care, C-A-R-E, check understanding, acknowledge, respond with options, and extend an invitation. We're going to pop these on here, and yeah.
That's us. So if you have any further questions, please just pop it into the comments. We hope that you've enjoyed this
81st Crush Wednesday on how to overcome objections. And guys, you know what I'd love? You know what I'd really love? These Crush Wednesday, I'd love for you to tell me what you want to talk about. You know where we live. You know our headquarters. You PM us, you phone us, you email us, you pop it here in the comments, because this is then going to really help evolve and give you so much more value. So give us a love or a thumbs up if you've got some value from that. CARE, our 81st live on how to overcome objections. And we are signing off. You might see us again, you never know, but thank you everyone, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.